Hello, welcome to the Moonrise Human Design YouTube channel. We are so honored that you are choosing to spend your time, your precious resources, learning about human design from us today. In this video, you can expect to learn all about the 5-2 profile in human design, which is expressed as a fraction, 5-2. And we will be sharing in this video the 5 energy, the 2 energy, and then how these 2 energies actually interplay together and engage with each other to create more of the unique story that is you.
This Moonrise Human Design YouTube channel and just the Moonrise community in general is a place for you to explore, experiment, learn about human design. We do this because we believe that human design is a very effective tool to learning about yourself, to accepting yourself, to cultivating more self-love, and to cultivating more understanding and acceptance of others around you. My name is Sam Fodenhauer. I'm an embodiment coach, intuitive, and human design teacher based in Austin, Texas.
My name is Nadia Last. I'm a therapist, and I love to use human design in my therapy practice as one of the tools and modalities for clients to really better understand themselves, as Sam was saying, and I'm in the Bay Area, California.
The Moonrise community has a lot of really cool offerings. So we have a podcast, Moonrise Human Design Podcast. We also have an Instagram at Moonrise Community that are great resources to continue your human design experiment. We offer these very detailed, in-depth written human design readings or written reports called our guidebooks. We also offer a very in-depth, many month-long study of human design called Human Design Training, which is self-paced or live. And we offer one-on-one readings.
Absolutely, we do. We'd love to hear from you. We have really strong intention to create community. That's why it's called Moonrise Community. So like, comment, subscribe, share this video with someone that you love. Reach out to us. We would love to hear from you. But let's get into the content of today's video. So Sam, would you describe what a profile is?
Sure. A profile is the role that you play to share your gifts with the world. I almost think of it as like we all have these different characters, and it's part of understanding our character. The way that we take our gifts and these other parts about our chart and like express them out into the world. We can also look at it as personality archetypes, and they're effective to helping you understand the ways in which you connect with other people and develop your own inner knowing.
So well said. I have no notes. So let's talk about the 5-2 profile. Let's start with the 5th line, which is called the Heretic in human design literature. That's the language.
Yeah, so with each of the profiles, you always have 2 numbers, and those based off of the 6 different lines. We just call them like line 1, line 2, line 3. And so the first one, the 5th line, is your conscious line. It's the one you lead with, you're a little bit more connected to. So the Heretic is the universal problem solver. They have this powerful problem solving energy. People view them as very competent, and what their gift is and what you're particularly able to do is to develop a universal solution. This means that you can see things in a way of, wow, if everybody, like universally, we adopted this solution, or 95% of people adopted the solution, that would basically solve this problem.
So that was such a great way of saying that. Yes.
Thank you.
It's like this one to many. Like, what are the things, if you're a 5-2 and you're listening to this, ask yourself, what are the things that I feel really strongly about? Like, if everyone just knew X, or if I'm thinking of a 5-2 in my life who is particularly passionate about cold plunging. And every time I talk to him, he's like, if everybody just knew you just have to get cold, it would reset your nervous system. And it's such a beautiful representation of this energy that as a 5th line, you are designed to bring humanity forward by always scanning the world and seeing how are we doing things and how might we do things better.
So to give you just a few examples, you already mentioned one. So if a 5th line example of a universal solution is if all leaders connected with vulnerability, then they would be much more effective leaders and people would connect with them a lot more. Or if everybody exercised in this way, if every single time you talk to a doctor, this thing was in place, then it would solve this other issue. And you'll see these things. Like you'll go to pediatricians and they'll always maybe do a specific scan or a check-in. And that's because there was an issue that a lot of people had, and there was a universal solution, and then everyone implemented it.
Yes.
And that is kind of like the 5th line energy, to see it, and then when successful, to disperse these ideas, and then like everyone adopts them.
I have one more example
Let's hear
that
it.
my
Yeah.
partner, who's a fifth line, he leads with his fifth line. He gets really excited about electric car charging stations all being universalized, like everybody using the same type of charger. So no matter what kind of electric vehicle you have, you're able to charge your car. So as a fifth line, just asking yourself and getting very curious about what are the problems that you see as worth solving? Because this heretical energy, the heretic, this energy that you are imbued with, is this ability that you have to kind of stand up against the status quo. When you've found a better way of doing something, you're able to stand up and say, I know this is going to ruffle some feathers. I know this might feel really novel or uncomfortable or unfamiliar, but I also know that this is a better way of doing something, and I'm willing to stand up against the mainstream way that things are done because I know that we can bring our humanity forward.
And the thing that's really unique about fifth lines is you'll have the solution and then there's this dispersal effect. And so when there are some factors at play, like when your timing's right, you're meant to be have an impersonal influence. So you're meant to impact people that you may not know personally. I like to think of this as a TED Talker. You go and you watch a video and that idea really sticks and you tell people about it 5 years later, even though you don't know anything about the person who shared it. That's the fifth line gift of being able to influence people without them getting to know them on a personal level. And other people will see themselves in your idea. There'll be something about your idea that they relate to. And because of it, it disperses a lot faster. Is there any downsides to this?
The one downside to how quickly your message or your universalizing mutative truth can spread is that people might actually see something in you that's not quite there. Because that's how your message is shared far and wide, people will likely project onto you almost like a savior complex sometimes. Or I see you as a fixer. I see you as this competent problem solver that you are. And here's what I want you to solve for me. And sort of like try to bring that energy into their field in ways that might not feel actually that authentic for you. So you are constantly, as a fifth line, receiving these projections from people.
And we're going to keep speaking on that. And I'll say this point quickly too, of they also project on your ideas. So it's like, because they want people to see themselves in their ideas, they'll take it and it kind of becomes a game of telephone. And it's like, okay, they watched the TED Talk and then they told their friend and it was like mostly the right point, but there are pieces of it missing.
Yes.
And it can make the fifth line feel like, are you really listening?
Yeah.
Like, did you really see the idea? This projection point is probably the most challenging part of being a fifth line, and every fifth line I know who's in their human design process has had to specifically work with it.
Yes.
Because it can present some real challenges. What are those challenges? How do you work with it?
So one way I use this signal because I do this in every reading. I'm like, fifth line, it's like there are like these little like strings that people try to attach to you, like savior, like save me. And I did this with my partner at one point in our relationship because he's such a competent problem solver. And there's this way that fifth lines have to almost like unhook from people's expectations of this is the problem you should solve to get clear about the problems that you want to solve. And that's really important that you recognize and really tap into yourself, tap into your authority. We have videos on the authorities to recognize like what is correct for me to be solving.
Keep going.
Which gets us into the second line.
Yes, the second line. Gosh, we could just keep going.
And we do in our human design training, in our guidebooks, in our readings. If you want to learn more about the fifth line, we would encourage you to seek out one of those resources.
We say this in all our videos. We keep going and then we talk about it, and that's because we genuinely feel like
so
that.
much
Like
more.
we have a timer because these videos would be like 40 minutes long.
Absolutely.
At minimum if we just kept talking.
Absolutely.
So, okay, the second line, the Hermit. Thank you for keeping us on track. The Hermit is what we call the second line. That languaging can feel intense for people. It may or may not for you, but all it means is you're meant to spend time by yourself, to step away from others, and in that you connect with your innate gifts. Second lines, you are uniquely gifted. You have things that just work for you, that are obvious, that you can become masterful at and not fully understand why. You may cultivate these gifts, you may put a lot of hard work in them, you may learn, but there's just something there that is gifted. That's the term gifted. It's within you. And when you take time by yourself, when you hermit, you cultivate these gifts. They become alive for you and you start to see and understand what they are.
Absolutely. So as a second line, a hermit, you are designed to be very naturally gifted, as Sam was saying. You're meant to be actually a genius at the things that come most naturally to you. You might ask yourself, how do I access this genius? Human design teaches, and again, experiment with this in your own life, but human design teaches that it is in your alone time that you're able to tap into this inner creative temple that exists within you. And creativity doesn't necessarily mean painting or artistry, though it can, but it's connecting in with something that wouldn't exist otherwise. It's just something that flows through you naturally. It could be public speaking. It could be, I know a two-line in my life that's actually really good at Excel and just loves Excel. She makes Excels for every different part of her life, like budgets, groceries. It's like, she just is gifted that way. So it's when you are alone, when you are actually outside of the energy of other people and the influence of what they want you to do, that's when you're able to connect to your own inner creative muse. But the key to unlock this is to not just give yourself alone time, but to cherish it. Is it creative time? Is it time that you feel like is entirely yours and you can luxuriate in it in a way that feels regenerative?
Yes. The important thing to note as a second line is that you have these innate talents, but second lines tend to not be very good at identifying them for themselves. It's like you miss them easily. And so you, even though you're meant to hermit to grow these talents, you also need to be with other people because other people will call them out of you. They'll spot and be, you are so phenomenal at cooking. Have you considered a culinary career? You're so great at tech. You know, have you considered coding? You should stay in this forever. You're so good. And so the second line has this balance where they'll need to hear that from others to help them understand and to help identify, okay, well, this is a gift for me. However, just because you're good at something, you'll be good at a lot of things, doesn't mean that's a good use of your time or that you want to do it. You may be so good at cooking, but you don't want to do it all day for work. You enjoy doing it at home, at your leisure when you choose. And being able to discern that of, okay, I see this as a talent, but what do I want to do with that talent? The second line works with other people, like in the natural life or to be seen, to help identify what their talents are, but it is up to you to decide how you want to use those talents in your life.
Beautifully said. So this gets us to the 5-2 and how it works together. The challenging part about being a 5-2 is that you're receiving projections on both sides, as the problem solver that you are and as the gifted part of you. So really this time that you spend by yourself, really connecting in with your inner truth and your inner wisdom through the wisdom of human design or any other tool or modality that helps you connect in with your essence. That's how you can continue to get clear again and again. What is the message that wants to be shared through me? And what are the gifts that want to be shared with me? And in what way do I share them?
Yes, the 5-2 leads with this problem solver. It can also be like a teacher energy.
Yes.
This forward-thinking leadership. So always making sure that you're willing to be seen and when you have those ideas and where they're ready. Both the 5-2 will have this projection field. And so it's something for you to be aware of that you will likely need to work on boundaries and on people pleasing, because it can come in from both ways, both with being a savior and from pursuing the things that other people think you should pursue.
100%. So well said. Is there anything else that a 5-2 needs to know?
I mean, there's so much I want to tell you, but I think we'll wait for now.
Absolutely. So if you enjoy this content, we would encourage you to explore all of the different Moonrise content, both free and paid experiences that we have and offerings. And if you like the way that we teach, we actually have our own podcast that we'd love to share about spirituality and self-growth. Sam's is called Wild River, mine's called The Current, and we would love to connect with you there.
Thank you.